Welcome to the 56th plenary of the AERC, African Economic Research Consortium. It is under the theme, Growth, Poverty, Redistribution and Social Inclusion in Times of COVID-19 Pandemic. This is a follow-up to the 55th plenary that was held in December 2021. And it focused on the subject matter, but it was a brainstorming session. In this plenary, 4 papers have been commissioned with some diversity to address this important theme. The critical point to note in African scene is that in the last 2 decades or so, growth in majority of African economies has been volatile and at most fragile in several of the African economies. COVID-19 pandemic has completely reversed the efforts of the last 2 decades or so in terms of poverty reduction and fighting inequality. So it means that this pandemic has been quite devastating in African economies. The post-COVID economic recovery strategy will have to focus on how those issues can be reinstated. That is, how we can accelerate growth that can reduce poverty and social inclusion, among other constraints in the development discourse. We do believe that this theme in the plenary is important as a building block to the economic recovery agenda after the COVID. The theme of the 56th plenary is also informed by the conclusions of a collaborative research project on re-examining growth, poverty, inequality, and redistribution relationships in Africa that was supported generously by the Norwegian Development Agency, NORAD. The collaborative research provides fresh insights in understanding growth, poverty reduction, and inequality, supplemented by redistributive measures in African economies. The emerging evidence seems to suggest that strong growth will significantly reduce poverty, but it has to be supplemented by targeted social protection programs that will flatten inequality in the long term and also create what we are calling in this plenary social inclusion. A pro-growth poverty reduction strategy is thus suggested as a critical pillar in this development discourse and the future of African economic recovery. This is different from pro-poor growth strategy that has been a pillar in the last several decades or so. You will listen more in the plenary presentations. In African economies, targeted social protection programs like cash transfers using the mobile phone during the COVID-19 lockdown in countries like Kenya worked effectively and lowered the spread of the COVID-19. So, such targeted cash transfers can thus form a family of programs that will in future support social inclusion and inclusive growth in the African economies. That is why the theme in the 56th plenary is very, very critical on growth, poverty redistribution and social inclusion in times of COVID pandemic in Africa. It is going to be an important building block for a post-COVID economic recovery agenda for African economies. And so we believe that we'll make a contribution to the post-COVID economic recovery agenda. So welcome to the AERC June 2022 plenary, which is the 56th plenary of the AERC. Thank you very much.